I have a couple of things in common with today's guest. He's a producer. Well, I produce this show. He is a director. Well, I once directed a kids' play. Okay, he directed a Hallmark movie. And I learned that directing wasn't my forte. So maybe we don't have much in common. Oh, well, welcome to Small Talk.
People come from all walks of life. They all have lives they lead. Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Well, my guest today is multi-talented, and he's in Vancouver, I believe. His name is Jason Bourque. I knew I would screw up somebody's last name. I do it all the time.
Everyone does.
Sorry, I spoke over you. All the things that I'm not supposed to do. So anyway, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Nancy.
I'll slow down so it won't be so crazy. So now, I liked your bio where it says you're a self-proclaimed film nerd, 80s film nerd, right?
Yes.
And
yes, I'm a child of the 80s.
Okay.
All good. Yeah, I admittedly I am a film nerd. I love film history. I used to work in a video store back when we had video stores over in Victoria. I started doing little zombie movies when I was like 12 years old back in New Brunswick with neighborhood kids, and it's always been in my blood. I'm basically a storyteller, so it's sort of what I do. I've always just survived off my creativity and either writing scripts and stories when I was younger, and it kind of evolved into being a filmmaker.
Or just thinking about the fact that you mentioned New Brunswick, which is where I'm from originally. Oh. I find that Easterners are very much storytellers.
Yes.
Right?
I fully agree. It's interesting being on the West Coast. I also find people back East are a little funnier. I don't know. I don't know what it is. And maybe sometimes even a little more community based, to be honest. Yeah. Maybe it's the weather, although we certainly had a lot of bad weather out here that helps, neighbors joining up with neighbors and helping to shovel for seniors and all that fun stuff. Cause it was quite the dump of snow we had.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually, growing up in the Maritimes, I'm so used to these snowy winters, but out here, I direct a lot of Hallmark Christmas movies, but usually in July. So we have to fake the snow with white, basically white blankets and lots of computer graphics and visual effects to fake it all. So
yeah. So how did you get into directing the Hallmark movies?
I've had an interesting career because I started doing music videos, country music videos after going to the Vancouver Film School. And that became my calling card. I found that music videos just allowed me to be a storyteller, but very short, and it allowed me to play with a lot of toys as well for film production. And from there, I got into short films, which I was always shooting on weekends with friends and paying for it on my Visa card and going in debt. And then using those, I was able to get into what's called the television movie market. And at the time, it was science fiction movies. There was a lot of disaster movies, but with big kind of family values. Because even though it's like tornadoes and crazy earthquakes, it always comes back to the family unit and usually a core of it could be a fractured family. It could be a father dealing with his kids, but it's in these crazy situations. When that died out, I moved into the Lifetime model of television movies, which is usually like very strong female leads coming up against kind of like the sleeping with the enemy type of motif. It's like there's certain movies that A-list movies, and then they get kind of copied,
right?
Because it works. And so I did a lot of those. When that kind of died out, I moved into romantic comedies. So I find throughout that whole process, I pay my bills by writing and directing these television movies. But I always have my passion projects. I always have the movies that I do with Telefilm and with other filmmakers that Those are more the independent movies for festivals, and again, that kind of feed the soul. But those ones take a lot longer to get off the ground.
Yeah, for sure. Now you won an award, right, for an international film?
I've done a lot of, I also like doing documentaries. So and again, as a storyteller, I totally love jumping back and forth with genres and also the types of movies. That's why I can do documentaries and features and television movies. I did a few that I actually have done quite well. I did one called Music for Mandela, on Mandela's musical legacy, which I shot throughout South Africa and also the UK. That one won the Amnesty International Film Award, which was quite big. That went on to do a whole lot of other festivals. Black Fly, which is inspired loosely by my childhood growing up in New Brunswick. That one, again, won quite a few awards as well. And all kind of stemming from the idea when I was in film school that the writer said, or the teacher who taught writing said, write what you know. And I thought that was excellent advice. So I just wrote something about might sound kind of dark, Nancy, but it's about a serial killer in my community, actually, when I was about 14. So so writing, it was called based on Noel Winters.
Wow.
I don't know if you remember him at all back in the 80s.
I wasn't out here, and I listen, the 80s, I don't remember. I had little kids.
Well, that was the one that probably was closest to my heart. And again, it was just one of those ones that it did well. And I love the idea of taking movies to festivals, and it allows me to, the main thing, it just allows me to directly interact with the audience and ask questions. They can ask questions and I can inform them as to what makes me tick. And my philosophy also, I'm very much an open book. I love to teach. I love to mentor. And I love to share my stories and see if anyone gets anything out of that as well.
Well, I think people do. Otherwise, you wouldn't have won awards.
Yeah, it's very much based on the team. I'll be honest. As a director, I realized a long time ago that you're only as good as the team you put together, and it takes an army to make a movie. So I'm just very blessed that I do have a lot of friends in the industry and very talented people that are behind me when I make these movies.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like I was in some student films, and just those were very time consuming and a lot of work, a lot of people involved, right? Mm-hmm. It takes, and people don't know if they've never seen it. If they haven't been behind the scenes, they have no idea what it's like. Right? Yeah,
it's interesting. It's like everyone's like, I kind of compare it to almost like a beehive, where you have your drones, you have like, I guess I would sort of be the queen bee type of, captain of the ship, so to speak, with metaphors. But ultimately, everyone has a job to do. And when you have like 50 people and they're all kind of scuttering around doing very specific jobs, and then boom, it comes together and everything's like kind of like shoved in this box, in this frame. And you see the production design, you see the camera design, you see the acting. And I just love that, how it all kind of comes together into one little thing when there's, it could be 50 to, 300 people behind that.
Yeah. And then the editing, that's a whole other process, right?
Totally. It's interesting because I've been working throughout the pandemic and the process has changed. So right now I'm editing a Christmas movie that I shot up in Kelowna. It was my fourth movie of last year, and all my editing is remote. I'm no longer going into an editing suite and being squeezed in beside an editor as we work away. So I just work at home and we, Zoom and Vimeo, and there's a lot of ways that we can now communicate. Same with casting as well. I'm so used to having auditions where I'm in a room and I get to feel out that actor, how they take, how they take direction and to see their takes on things. Now it's all, they do it all at home. Yeah. Everything, again, callbacks are on Zoom and everyone, it's provided a lot of interesting opportunities for actors because maybe actors that wouldn't have been noticed as much, they can now hone in and spend so much time on getting the right take that's going to impress the producers and directors. Then they submit. You know what I mean? Compared to, spotlight, you're in the room, the director's in front of you and go, and you got to basically nail it in 15 seconds.
I know. I tried some. I didn't do well.
So you do that, eh? You've done some acting as well.
In the past, yeah. In the past. I'm just thinking about now for somebody who produces movies and directs movies now, and also somebody who probably watches. Are you critical when you're watching somebody else's work, like that is already on, whether it's on Netflix or whatever?
Yeah, I find I'm very cued into continuity and also costumes and production design. So it's interesting. It's like, say, for example, on Netflix, they have the new Cobra Kai series based on Karate Kid, and I really thoroughly enjoy it. But I was watching the last episode, and I noticed how everybody had like Nike signatures in all their clothes.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it. I want to be thinking of the actors, but I'm thinking, wow, they just got a big sponsorship to make this for Nike.
Right.
Or I just notice little details that might take me out of the movie. But that being said, I just saw Dune recently, and
yeah,
I was swept away by that, and I can watch movies still where the magic of the movie can, I can let it wash over me and thoroughly enjoy it like I'm a kid. I haven't lost that yet.
That's pretty cool, though. I think that's great. I just think too that getting back to like when you're like, do you have a preference whether you're producing or directing, or do you enjoy both processes?
Producing is the hardest, without a doubt. I have one coming out soon called When Time Got Louder, directed by Connie Kokia. And it's a wonderful story. It's a very personal story for Connie. And it's about her coming out while dealing with her brother who's on the spectrum, and he's nonverbal. And we cast an actor who's on the spectrum, and I shoot very quickly. I can shoot a movie in 12 days or 15 days, but because of the complexity of the acting and the subject matter, we stretched this out to about 20, I think it was like 23 days.
Right.
And producing something like that, it's a story that needed to be told, and I put my own director's career on hold to produce it. But it is challenging, like producing in this market where you're surrounded by Supergirl and Nancy Drew and all these big series in Vancouver. I find it's harder now to do these indies that I do think matter. And I do think those type of voices, unique voices, need to be told. But I'll be honest, we're kind of being smothered at the moment by all the service production in town. So it's a little harder to get the locations and the deals, and those challenges can be quite frustrating. Whereas as a director, I am in very much a creative bubble.
Yeah.
And again, I find that as a director, the biggest thing I do is I have options given to me, and out of those options, I pick and choose. And for me, it's playtime when I direct. I don't see it as a job. Producing's a job.
Right. Yeah. I was just thinking about when one of those films is done or it's finished.
Yes.
Where, if I want to see them, where would I go and see them?
It's interesting with streaming right now. So there's so many different options. I'll give you an example. I directed a TV series in Qatar, in the Middle East, in Qatar. Okay. And it was the first English Arabic sci-fi series, and we premiered it at through Comic-Con in LA, and Rolling Stone gave it a nice write-up, but it was hard to get it out,
right?
Because it was Arabic and English. And I did that a couple years ago, and it's finally coming out on something called Tubi TV. And it's Tubi TV is free. It's kind of like a Netflix, but it's free. You have commercials. Not a lot of people know about it. So it's like, there's so many different options now. So I don't know. It's kind of, Black Fly is on Amazon, Amazon Prime. So you can get it for free on that. We had it on iTunes for a little bit, but then on iTunes, you got to pay for it. On Amazon, if you're a member, it's free. It's I don't know. When something comes out now, you might literally have it on 6 different platforms.
Okay.
So it's interesting tracking things down now. I lose sight of it. I found out like Black Fly is playing in Poland. I had no idea. It's
yeah. I have
Tubi. Wild West.
Yeah, I have Tubi on my tablet, and
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, I like Tubi. If you type in my name, Black Fly will come up, and it is dark, and but all the actors won awards, and it really helped my career doing something that was personal and where I creatively could really sink my teeth into it and show off a little bit more as to what I'm capable of. So Very happy with it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it for sure. I think that's
It's
great.
scary. It's scary, Nancy.
Yeah, but listen, I'm 73 years old. I've been through a lot of stuff, right?
Oh yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
My parents liked it.
Pardon?
My parents, they've always been very supportive, and
nice.
my mom's a writer. She's actually one of my co-writers. So when we work on scripts, we can team up.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad's a bit of a Cliff Clavin, from Cheers. He's just all this crazy knowledge and always throws in his 2 cents. And he also is much like me. He loves to draw and paint. My background, I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts at the University of Victoria. So I focused on sculpting and painting before I went to the film school.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I meet so many people are so multi-talented. I love it. It is so fantastic. Right?
It's in the genes, eh? Like I do believe you could track it down. If you don't have that creativity gene out of your parents, it might be the grandparents.
Yeah.
But there's usually a bit of a thread, I find, when it comes to writing and painting and just being visual.
Right.
My sister is a pet photographer.
Oh, okay.
And she takes fantastic photos and has been in magazines, and a bit later in life, she kind of discovered that was her passion.
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting, eh? I just love being creative. I'm blessed that I can make a living at it. And I don't know what I would do otherwise, to be honest. I'm a bit of a lifer.
And also, it's nice that your partner Heather is a costume designer, right?
Yes, yeah, she's incredible and has been so supportive of my directing career. I kind of showed up on her doorstep with my box of comic books, and she was the one with the beautiful dog in the car, and it takes me in as this independent filmmaker. And we have worked together on certain things when I can afford her, because my shows are quite low budget. Right. She's done some wonderful shows for Disney, and she's also won some awards. So it's just the two of us and our pug Frankie, who has more Instagram followers than I do.
You don't put animals on Instagram if you don't want them to be more popular.
I want free stuff. It's like, get her like a nice little sweater. It's cold outside.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, this has been so great. So if somebody wanted to hire you to produce or direct, should I just include your website? Is that what I would?
Sure. My website, so it's www.goldstarprod.com is my company. And then so that's my company, is Gold Star. And then my website is jasonbourque.ca.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna write this down. Gold Star. Okay.
Yeah, goldstarprod.com. And as a writer, director, producer, I do spend a lot of time reading a lot of scripts. So I get a lot of submissions. Right. I'll be honest, like it is hard to get these indie movies going in today's market. Yeah. So I find that this sounds crazy. Out of maybe like 100 scripts, maybe 1 or 2, actually get momentum. It's really quite tough.
Right. Well, I know that here in Chilliwack, like a certain time of the year, they have independent film festival happens.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah. So is that something you would ever get involved in?
I was involved with the Maple Ridge Film Festival. I did a movie called Drone with Sean Bean, and that one we showed there, and Black Fly also showed at the Maple Ridge Film Festival. So any film festivals, if I have work, I would love to show it, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I also find, have you heard of Crazy Eights? It's a great program that's set up by the film industry to support new voices, new directors and writers. And I'm always involved in that as a mentor. So I come on board and through my union and through Paul Armstrong, who runs the Crazy Eights, I get attached to like a director just to, just more to be like to watch their backs, to be just a creative entity in the background that they could always use if they have any questions. So I'm quite involved with the local film industry, especially in the ground roots, in the trenches. More so, I don't work on big, the big TV series. I work on the features and the television movie market.
Right. I think it's all wonderful.
Yeah, I like I said, I love it, and it's it's wonderful that I have a partner who's also involved in the industry, and she kind of understands the crazy hours as well that we have to put in.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this has been so enjoyable, despite my stuttering and over talking over you at the beginning and mispronouncing your name. I really appreciate you doing this with me.
Fun.
Yeah, so we'll end it on that note, and I'm just going to thank the audience for watching the show. And I'm going to include Jason's website if you want to check him out or get a hold of him. You know, watch his movies and see what you think. I'm definitely going to watch as many as I can find.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, all right, and thank everybody for again. Thanks for watching. I hope you share and subscribe is something that I'd like to. In the meantime, peace out, everyone.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see.